How's Crawford, his composure going to be like the moment a punch lands on him from Canelo?
Are you kidding me? Take that question back.
Yeah, why?
Because you're talking about Crawford. He's
But
the,
weight classes.
he's the most composed guy. And what, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No.
He went on the ring. Teddy Atlas.
What's that mean?
He said you're the most overrated Mexican champion in history. He said that Salvador Sanchez.
Más
Popular, pero sin causa.
Ah, fucking crazy that guy. and you think he knows boxing? Fuck.
In a recent episode of Asterisk, the Fight Asterisk podcast, renowned boxing trainer and analyst Teddy Atlas shared his insights on the highly anticipated showdown between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Known for his sharp analysis and deep understanding of boxing, Atlas dissected the potential clash, highlighting the unique challenges and advantages each fighter brings to the ring. With both athletes being top contenders in their respective divisions, Atlas's breakdown provides a fascinating perspective on what could become one of the biggest and most exciting boxing matches of the year.
You know, then we'll be more ready, but we're not. At the end of the day, the way that I made a decision based on whether or not I think I was right was that I had privately talked to the fighter, and again, he was a real fighter. He had the spirit of a fighter, the behavior of a fighter. He wasn't going to tell anyone no. He wasn't going to, because in their mind, it's cowardly. In their mind, you're not being a fighter. You're breaking the code if you say you're not ready. So they shouldn't have to be the one. I don't think they should have to be the one to say. Just like if it's a tough fight, and the guy's getting beat up.
The highly anticipated showdown between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford is generating immense excitement among boxing fans. This potential super fight is expected to take place in late 2025, possibly around Mexican Independence Day in September at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. The bout promises to be a clash of two pound-for-pound greats, with Canelo dominating at super middleweight and Crawford aiming to cement his legacy by conquering a third weight class.
I've read somewhere that Canelo has shortlisted Crawford for the May fight, his fight in May. Dan, what's happening?
Listen, I think it's just a fluid situation. I don't think there's anything definitive one way or the other at this point. I mean, it's not a secret that that's a fight that's been discussed by a lot of us and by a lot of people in there that has been very vocal about wanting. Now, Canelo hasn't ever said he wanted the fight, kind of downplayed it to a certain degree, but it wasn't that long ago. I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, he was doing an appearance and he was asked about it and he didn't close the door on it. In the past, he sort of like closed the door on it and was like, I'm not interested. He's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody and listen to what they have to say about the deal, any kind of deal. So in my mind, that sort of at least cracked open the door to have the conversation. Like he wasn't just saying, forget it, in terms of working with Turkey or anybody else. So I think that Canelo is a smart person in terms of his boxing, but also in terms of his business. And when he looks around at the landscape and he wants to make a huge amount of money, like all top fighters or any fighter for that matter, and he looks and sees who can I fight where I can make the biggest score, you know, in a big time fight. It's going to get made. Someone's going to have to put up a lot of guaranteed money. And he's probably the person that's going to do it. He's obviously been working closely with Terence Crawford. He was involved with the Terence Crawford's last fight that took place in August when he fought Israel Madrimov. It's obviously a fight that Terence Crawford.
Teddy Atlas emphasizes the weight difference as a key factor in the potential showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Canelo has been competing at higher weight classes, primarily at 168 bulbs, super middleweight, while Crawford has historically fought in lower divisions, recently moving up to 154 bulbs. Atlas questions whether Crawford can handle the significant leap to 168 bulbs and effectively deal with Canelo's size and power. He highlights the challenges Crawford might face against such a physically dominant opponent. Other boxing experts, including Joe Rogan, have expressed similar concerns about this potential weight disparity.
No, I'm saying at once.
Right.
I'm saying I started at 135. I'm just saying, like, say if Canelo was the champion at 147 to go up 168.
Right. In one jump.
Yeah, in one jump.
It's a big jump too. 21 pounds. It's a lot of weight.
Paulie Malignaggi has also raised concerns about Terence Crawford's size, suggesting he may be too small to compete effectively against Canelo Alvarez. Malik Nagy believes the significant weight difference could be a major challenge, given Canelo's physicality and strength in the super middleweight division.
Crawford could beat Canelo Alvarez.
I think he's too small. But then again, I thought he was too small for Spence. So well, shows what I know. So I don't know. I think that's a lot of weight class jumping. We'll see.
It's a good talking point. I don't know that would really happen, or I mean, listen, we've seen some strange things in boxing. Don't get me wrong, especially in the recent years. So I don't say never, but I don't know how seriously that's going to be taken. But I think when you're at a level, when you come off a big win like Crawford just did, anything you say reverberates through the sport.
Edgar Berlanga agrees that Terence Crawford's weight poses the biggest challenge in a potential fight against Canelo Alvarez. While acknowledging Crawford's exceptional skill and intelligence, Berlanga highlights Canelo's significant size advantage at super middleweight as a potentially decisive factor.
My good friend, my brother, Terence Crawford, wants to fight Canelo.
Yeah.
Just from your expert opinion, knowing how Canelo fights, what he's like in the ring, I know you haven't been in the ring with Terence, but what do you think of that fight?
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that favor Canelo is that, is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better, you know what I'm saying? But, Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't.
Teddy Atlas considers the challenge Canelo Alvarez might face in cutting down to 160 ounces, an ideal weight for Terence Crawford. He notes that Canelo, especially at this stage of his career, would likely be reluctant to make such a significant weight drop.
Terence Crawford, I see he wants to fight. He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but like I say, he's a weight classes for a reason. I'm focused 100% on Berlanga, and you never know what happened.
Yeah.
Next.
Teddy Atlas speculates that a potential fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford could take place at a catchweight, such as 164 ounces, though he believes Canelo would be hesitant to agree to such terms due to his dominance at 168 ounces. Atlas emphasizes that the weight issue is central to the fight, as it could significantly impact each fighter's ability to execute their strategies and maximize their strengths. Atlas also highlights Crawford's versatility as a potential advantage against Canelo. Known for his ability to adapt mid-fight, Crawford can seamlessly switch between orthodox and southpaw stances, making him a complex and unpredictable opponent. His movement, angles, and strategic adjustments are some of his strongest qualities. Atlas believes these attributes could be crucial in countering Canelo's power and strength, which are the cornerstones of the Mexican superstar's style. Despite Crawford's adaptability, Atlas acknowledges the challenge posed by Canelo's tremendous punching power, particularly his devastating right hand. He notes that Crawford would need to be extremely cautious to avoid Canelo's destructive punches while using his own skill set to outmaneuver and outthink his opponent. Controlling the pace of the fight and evading power shots would be essential for Crawford to succeed. Atlas draws an intriguing comparison between Crawford and Manny Pacquiao, highlighting similarities in their footwork, speed, and ability to close distance on opponents. He notes that, like Pacquiao in his prime, Crawford possesses a unique blend of technical skill and aggressive style, making him a modern-day equivalent of the legendary Pac-Man. This combination of attributes, according to Atlas, could allow Crawford to present significant challenges for Canelo, even with the size disadvantage. Ultimately, Atlas presents a nuanced analysis, recognizing the unique strengths and vulnerabilities of both fighters while emphasizing the critical role of weight and strategy in this highly anticipated potential matchup.
I think he wins with everybody, and I agree with the two champions. I think he wins right now with the guys that are there. He carries his power well. He's moved up 3 weight classes. This will be the 4th weight class. He's carried his power with him. Punches are born, they're not made. You have power, you carry what? Pacquiao, we forget about a guy like that. He used to be a jockey riding horses, and the next thing you know, he goes bantamweight, he goes lightweight, he goes welterweight, he goes junior. I mean, he just kept going up. And what did he do? He carried his power, and he carried his speed, obviously, as the smaller man. Crawford carries his speed, he carries his power, and the most important thing is what's inside of Crawford. He's a special guy. He doesn't believe he could beat him. And it's hard to beat a guy who doesn't believe you could beat him.
Teddy Atlas once remarked, "It's hard to beat a guy who doesn't believe you could beat him." On another occasion, he praised Terence Crawford for bringing a unique dimension to the ring. Atlas highlighted Crawford's ability to adapt and strategize in real time, making him a versatile and unpredictable opponent. He commended Crawford's exceptional ring IQ, footwork, and seamless transitions between orthodox and southpaw stances, noting these attributes set him apart from other fighters. According to Atlas, even seasoned champions like Canelo Alvarez would struggle with the unique challenges Crawford presents. Atlas also emphasized Crawford's mental toughness and tenacity, which add complexity to his fighting style and make him a formidable contender in any matchup. However, he is equally mindful of the physical and mental toll that years of competition can take on fighters, particularly those like Canelo, who have been active at the highest levels for an extended period. He pointed out that the wear and tear accumulated over a long career, especially for someone with as many battles as Canelo, could impact future performances. While acknowledging Canelo's extensive and impressive record, Atlas raised questions about longevity and its effect on a fighter's abilities. This, he argued, could open the door for Crawford to exploit any signs of decline in Canelo's game, making this potential matchup even more intriguing and unpredictable.
Not for me.
And you believe he'll even beat Crawford, right? I think you've said that before.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it'd be very interesting. It'd be very interesting. I love Crawford. It'd be very interesting. Crawford is, he brings a different dimension to it. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's tall and long, stepped up in weight classes, and a guy who's a winner, a guy who's dynamic, but a guy who goes about his business in a different way, where he controls range, where, he looks to set traps. But then he believes too. Crawford, that's what makes that would be an intriguing fight for me, because that son of a gun, he believes too. When it gets down to it, to being a junkyard dog, man, he could fight with the best of them. Because you try to take something from him, he'll say, you know what, I like to control range, I like to be out here, I like to counter, I like to have it my way, just like you guys like to have a buffet and all things when I hope he puts some food out for you guys.
Dan Rafael, a prominent boxing analyst, shared his insights on the potential showdown between Terence Crawford and Saul Canelo Alvarez. Rafael emphasized that this highly anticipated matchup is one of the biggest in boxing, given both fighters' status as pound-for-pound stars. He highlighted the significance of the fight, noting it would be a true test of Crawford's ability to compete at the super middleweight level against a dominant opponent like Canelo. Crawford's move up 2 weight divisions to face Canelo would be a monumental challenge. While Rafael acknowledged Crawford's exceptional skill set and versatility, he also pointed out the difficulties posed by Canelo's size, strength, and experience at super middleweight. Rafael believes this fight would not only establish the top fighter in the super middleweight division, but also significantly impact the pound-for-pound rankings, making it a defining moment in both fighters' careers.
Now, Canelo hasn't ever said he wanted the fight, kind of downplayed it to a certain degree, but it wasn't that long ago. I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, he was doing an appearance and he was asked about it and he didn't close the door on it. In the past, he sort of like closed the door on it and was like, I'm not interested. He's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody and listen to what they have to say about the deal, any kind of deal. So in my mind, that sort of at least cracked open the door to have the conversation. Like he wasn't just saying, forget it, in terms of working with Turkey or anybody else. So I think that Canelo is a smart person in terms of his boxing, but also in terms of his business. And when he looks around at the landscape and he wants to make a huge amount of money, like all top fighters or any fighter for that matter, and he looks and sees who can I fight where I can make the biggest score in a big time fight.
Teddy Atlas delves into the strategies Terence Crawford could use against Canelo Alvarez, emphasizing Crawford's ability to adapt, move, and fight from different angles. He suggests Crawford's strategy might focus on movement and counter-punching to neutralize Canelo's aggression, leveraging his speed, footwork, and ring IQ to outpoint Canelo over 12 rounds. While Atlas acknowledges the serious threat posed by Canelo's power, he cautions against assuming that size and strength alone would guarantee Canelo a victory. Atlas highlights Crawford's history of facing powerful opponents and his ability to adjust and win convincingly. He believes Crawford's adaptability, combined with his superior boxing skills, could provide the tools needed to neutralize Canelo's strengths. However, Atlas also recognizes the danger Canelo presents. Canelo's aggressive nature, combined with his world-class boxing ability, makes him a formidable opponent for anyone. Additionally, Atlas points out Canelo's extensive big fight experience, which could influence how the matchup unfolds. He notes that while Crawford is versatile and intelligent in the ring, Canelo's experience at the highest levels of the sport adds another layer of complexity to the fight. Meanwhile, Ryan Garcia praised Teddy Atlas's efforts in analyzing major boxing matchups and the impact such events have on the sport. "He's making a lot of great fights happen, and you can't hate on that," Garcia said. Addressing the rumored Crawford-Canelo fight, he added, "It's exciting to see how things are shaping up. These matchups bring energy to boxing and keep fans engaged." Garcia's remarks underscore his respect for efforts to elevate boxing through compelling matchups while building intrigue around the potential bout. Fans eagerly await official announcements as the buzz around this possible showdown continues to grow.
Guys, we know the fighters know the intel before the news gets released to the public. King Ryan was asked about Canelo Crawford. He not only says he can't believe they got that fight done, meaning that that's a done deal. We obviously knew that, but he also gives you who he thinks wins that fight, Canelo or Crawford. Do you agree with Ryan Garcia?
Fight.
What about Canelo and Crawford? What do you think?
That's going to be a great fight, too. I can't believe they made that happen. Turkey's been making a lot of great fights happen. You can't really hate on it. But I'm excited for that. I know Canelo is so big, so strong, and I think he'll be just too big. I mean, weight classes matter for a reason.
Last question, Ali. I'm not even a fan of that fight. There are too many weight classes apart. And although the skills, Crawford is one of the best fighters that I've seen. Now, Canelo is, fighting at 168. Crawford just moved up to 154, and he had some trouble with that in that fight. Now, where do you plan on going? 164, 65, 66? Canelo ain't gonna come down to 160. Yeah, Canelo ain't gonna come down, maybe 166 max if he accepts. I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size, power and size. Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skilled fighter, but the difference in size will be the deciding factor, and that's why I'm not even a fan of that fight. I think Crawford has accomplished everything he had to accomplish from 140 to 147, now 154. That's even greater for him. He wants to do something, collect belts at 154, he can attempt that. But there's no money in that compared to the Canelo fight. And Canelo is trying to fight other guys, and at that point it's more of a big fight for the money that's gonna generate. But as a fight fan, I'm not really a fan of that matchmaking. I'd rather see Canelo move up and fight somebody like Beterbiev or Revolt again. If he wanted to challenge himself, move up to 175 again and challenge himself against those guys. Not a smaller guy moving up.
I think Crawford has the skill and IQ to win. Canelo is too strong, but would go for Bud just for the upset money. But my problem with that take is this. I hate when in a fight, when the physically weaker guy has to rely on their IQ and skills more people all of a sudden drop the IQ and skills of the bigger guy or the stronger guy. Because Terence Crawford has to rely on his IQ and skills more, it doesn't mean that his IQ and skills would trump Canelo's. People forget that Canelo Alvarez is almost as good skill-wise as Crawford. That is a question. When Canelo is going up these weight classes, he's able to do that because of his skill level. It's not like he's just a big, strong, dude. Canelo Alvarez is extremely skilled. Extremely.
Fight Hub TV interviewed former 4-division world champion Mikey Garcia during his visit to Hamburg, Germany, for the WBC convention. The reporter brought up a statement made by Riot season head Turki Alal, who expressed a desire to organize a fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. After a brief pause, Garcia responded, stating that he's not a big fan of that matchup. His primary concern is the significant weight difference between Crawford and Canelo. Garcia pointed out that before Crawford moved up to 154 lbs, the disparity between the two fighters was equivalent to 3 weight classes. Garcia's brother also noted that Crawford seemed to struggle against Israel Makhamov during their title fight in Los Angeles, despite Crawford's exceptional skills. Garcia believes the size difference would be the deciding factor in a potential matchup between Crawford and Canelo, with the Mexican superstar's power and size likely giving him the edge. While he acknowledged Crawford's remarkable career, Garcia reiterated that this was why he wasn't fond of the fight. He believes Crawford has already accomplished everything needed from 140 to 147 to now 154, and that moving up further is unnecessary for him. Garcia also shared that if Crawford wanted to continue challenging himself, he could aim for the unified or undisputed title in his current division. However, he added that there's no significant money in those pursuits. He then spoke about his perspective on Canelo, acknowledging that a fight between Canelo and Crawford would generate significant revenue. But as a boxing fan, Garcia would prefer to see Canelo face opponents within or above his weight class, like Bivol, or even move up to 175 lbs to test himself against those fighters. These strong opinions are shared by other notable figures, including boxing legends Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. Jones. Like Garcia, acknowledges Crawford's undeniable skills, but agrees that dealing with Canelo's size would be a considerable challenge. If Terence can handle the size, he will beat him, Jones said during an interview with Mill City Boxing. Intro 12. In conclusion, Teddy Atlas believes that while Terence Crawford possesses the skills to win, he would face significant challenges due to Canelo Alvarez's power, size, and experience. Crawford's ability to make adjustments, use his speed, and avoid Canelo's powerful shots would be key factors in his success. However, Atlas stresses that the size and weight difference between the two fighters cannot be ignored. He questions whether Crawford's lighter frame would be able to absorb the punishment Canelo is likely to deliver. Ultimately, Atlas feels this would be a highly competitive fight, but one that would require Crawford to be at his absolute best to defeat the formidable Canelo Alvarez.